Hi, I'm John Robison from JE Robison Service in Springfield, Massachusetts. Today we're looking at a 1990 Corvette ZR1 with 2,400 original miles. This car came in through a referral from one of our Bentley clients. It came with a Carfax that backs up the 2,400 mile distance, and you know, I see a surprising number of cars that go into collections and that just don't pick up miles. This appears to be one of them. As best I can tell, the paint on this car, whole outside here, is all original. When you look at this car closely, it's very smooth here. There is a transition to a little bit more orange peel in the plastic bumper, and you know, and at first I wondered if that meant that the bumper had been painted, but I don't see any sign of paint masking on the edges. And I often see, especially in older GM cars, that there's a significant difference in texture between the plastic and then the main parts of the body, even on a fiberglass car. It looks, as far as I can tell, to be original everywhere. Original, I will say, does not mean perfect. This car has very good 30-year-old paint, but you can see, you know, there's some slight, you know, fades, there's a few small marks, no major imperfections. One thing that I'm not sure will come out in the video, but there's like a streak of discoloration from age across the center of this windshield and then up at the top. But this is the original cool-off shaded GM windshield safety glass. This is the, you know, this original thing from the period. This car has the original dark glass roof. In the back it has the metal roof, and of course you can also drive the car with no roof. Once you have got ready to take the top off, you're going to open the center console here, and it's a little Corvette socket wrench. The top is held on by these 4 bolts. There's 2 bolts in the back here, 2 bolts in front. I've removed them just so I can easily show you taking it off. And little John can step up and he can lift the top off and show you how it comes off and goes on. And with that, we have an open Corvette. Stepping back and looking on the sides, this car was fitted with modern Goodyear Eagle F1 tires, not because the tires were worn out, but because the tires were 30 years old. We do have the original 30-year-old tires, and the tires are, as you would expect on a 2,400 mile car, they're virtually as new, but I would not regard them as safe to drive on the road, although a buyer might want to put those tires back on the car to take it to car shows. We have in here, this is the original PF 970. It's the original black General Motors oil filter that was unique to ZR1s. If we look inside, you can see that the interior of this car is still very close to new in appearance and condition. Another thing that's really a sign of originality in this car, you can look at the sills where you step into the car, and the sills in this car have really absolutely no wear. The car has the original Corvette floor mats, which you can see here, you know, they lift out. The floor mats are not worn, not damaged. Here I've got the original Corvette owner's book. We have the, you know, the original inserts, 1990 Corvette owner's manual, the Goodyear tire warranty, 1990 maintenance schedule, 1990 owner assistance. I have its last few inspection reports from the current owner. One thing I guess, you know, the thing you'll immediately see looking in is just the strikingly low mileage on the car. It is all serviced, it's ready to go. It's a very, very low mileage car. So, looking under the hood here, this is really a strikingly original car. If you step in here and if you look down, for example, you know, this stuff is just as close to new as you will find. This is not restored. This is just 30-year-old, 2,000 some mile running gear that has really never gotten dirty. Up in front, underneath the headlights, you know, these wells, everywhere you look, it's, you know, really as close to new as you could want. Looking original does not mean that it has not been maintained. If you look in here, you'll see there's clear brake fluid in the reservoirs. There's a fresh oil filter on it. There's fresh oil in it. The car has been maintained over the years. You'll see that we have installed a Delco, which would be the original equipment battery. Outside of the maintenance of fluids and batteries, I don't really see any sign of any repair throughout this car's life. So really a strikingly original low mileage Corvette. I'd like to show you some of the details underneath this car. These are really all signs of originality. First of all, you can see here a little bit of a ragged edge, bottom of this air dam where it's scraped pavement. But what I'd point out to you is it's not bent, it's not deformed, it's not broken. So no significant impacts. Moving further back under the car, completely dry, no sign of leakage, no corrosion, nothing at all on any of these unfinished suspension members. As we move back, same situation, transmission, all this is completely dry. Exhaust really, kind of looks like the day it was made, even though it's 31 years old now. Back and back here, still got all the original labels and tagging on the shocks. What that shows you again is that this car, it's been driven some, but it hasn't been wet, hasn't been any kind of bad weather, because you'd be seeing pitting and discoloration here, and there's nothing. As you move all the way to the back, we can look inside where the bumper wraps around, and you can see that's just clean, unfinished material. The same back here. This area here, if the car had been repaired, you would see, masking lines, paint evidence and such, and this is all original here. Okay, I'm going to hop inside to the extent anyone my age can hop, and I'm going to start this thing up, and we'll just look at it while the hood's still open, look at it, we'll listen to it. So this has the old 6-speed transmission. This has the engine power button they put into ZR1s, which gave normal or power of a typical Corvette and then full power. This vehicle, when it came in, had an inoperative stereo, and we ended up testing it. We found that it had failed speaker modules, which is a very common issue on these cars. And we pulled all 4 speaker modules, had them rebuilt, and we also replaced the amplifier unit under this side here, so stereo is performing as new now.
Buddy, and everybody has a project they want to finish.
So all the controls here, the power seat controls all work, all the adjustments, the ride control, Tour Sport Performance. And let's go for a ride. About as much as I can do with it on a city street, but it does pick up and move, as you can see. Downshifts are nice and smooth. Steering is straight, smooth. Running straight. Braking is smooth, no pulling, no shaking. Car's vibration free, which isn't surprising because we have new tires on it. Gauges are all reading normal, oil pressure's up high, temperatures are low, pretty much what you want. Voltage is just above the center. It's got a heavy clutch, heavy brake. Anyone who drove the older Corvettes will be familiar with that, and compared to old L88, it's light. But that's another sign that it's a car of the 80s. Let's take it for a turn up the highway and then back to the office. Got good engine braking on this car. You really hardly need to touch the brakes coming off the highway. This was, really a very powerful, high-performance car of its day. In an old car like this, it's pretty easy to find yourself doing double the speed limit on city streets. We don't want to attract the attention of police, like the fellow driving by right now. We don't want to attract the attention of police. Well, thanks for joining me today. Once again, I'm John Robison from JE Robison Service in Springfield, Massachusetts, and hope you've enjoyed this presentation of this 1990 Corvette ZR1, which we will be selling shortly on Bring a Trailer. You'll find a link to the auction embedded below the film. Thank you.